Okay, welcome to the first ever Willy's World comedy podcast. Breaking into the podcast scene. I'm making a splash. I'm throwing my hat into the ring, and we're just gonna get stuck into it. All right, it's the new year for all of us, not some of us, all of us, and everyone's got new goals for the new year. New me, new year, new me. People are saying, and good on them for saying it. It's good to have it's good to have hope. And okay, so my goal for this year really is to uh, build a skyscraper. Pretty much, that's what I nailed my resolution down to. And what about this skyscraper, Will? Well, it's going to be Art Deco in design. I've decided after research, uh, and it's going to have 76 floors. Anything less than 76, and you're really just kidding yourself. And I want to have gold taps. Uh, how am I going to build this skyscraper? Well, in the summer, I frequented a trinket store in Carnegie, a Russian trinket store. And I didn't think there was any Russians in Australia, but apparently in Carnegie there's a whole bunch of Russians. And I frequented a trinket store called Jenny's Trinkets, and I bought a genie lamp when I was there. It really stuck out to me. I said, I'm gonna own that. Cost $5, but I wanted to make sure that it worked before I bought it. So what I did was, you'd think Jenny would be there because it's Jenny's Trinkets, but it wasn't Jenny. It was a guy called Bill, and I said, "Hey Bill, this genie lamp you got here, how does it work? How do I get the most out of this genie lamp?" And he stood up from his fold out chair, and he said, let me show you how to do it. Usually I wouldn't, but for you, I'm going to show you show you the genie lamp ropes. Thank you, Bill. And what he did was he took the genie lamp, and he said, you got to hold it like this. You got to hold it with two hands on each side. I said, okay, yeah. Then you got to hold the genie lamp up with the spout bit facing towards you. And what you do is, and bear with me here, you put the tip of the genie lamp spout in your mouth. I said, okay. I mean, I don't remember that in Aladdin. I thought you just rubbed it. It's like, yeah, no, most you do, but this one is special. And I said, okay. So he put it in his mouth, and then it's like, you got to start moving like this. And he sort of had the spout, his mouth was going further down the spout and then back towards the tip again. So he'd go, sort of put it in his mouth and back. Effectively, he was sucking off the genie lamp. And he said, well, that's how you use it. I said, I don't want to fucking suck off. There's always a catch. Do you know what I mean? Couldn't just be a regular genie lamp for $3 at Jenny's Trinkets in Carnegie with a lot of Russian people. You got to suck off the genie lamp. Anyway, so that sort of put a real thorn in my whole idea of getting a skyscraper. I thought I could just wish it into fulfillment. Turns out, tis not the case. So I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to build it brick by brick. Not personally. I'm going to hire a team of cheap foreign labourers, and I'm going to put them to work in the sun. Get me my big skyscraper. Everyone wants the biggest skyscraper. You know what I mean? That's always a thing. Every skyscraper, everyone's always trying to outdo the last one. So the Chrysler Building. Then the next came the Empire State Building. Then there was in Melbourne here, the Rialto. It's like, oh, we're going to build the Eureka Tower. It's going to be bigger. And I want to build I don't want to build the tallest tower. I want to build the thickest tower. I want to build the most dense skyscraper this world has ever seen. No, I'm not going to call it Chode Tower. Okay? It's going to be a respectable anyway. Never before conceived in the history of mankind, says my notes. Anyway, we got a great program for you today. Pretty much follow a very traditional format here with the podcast. We're going to do, this was sort of a opening thoughts, if you will. And then we're going to move into what's happening now, genuinely in my life, genuinely. And then we're going to go, we've got some sponsors. That's right. First podcast, I hustled some sponsors, local sponsors. And then we're going to finish up with a workshop where I'm going to take some material and just sort of riff on it. And we'll get into that. But first, what's going on in my life? Because this is Willy's World podcast. It's not your world. That's another thing. Essentially, this podcast is about, not just about me, it's about you. No, it is about me. But, I'm getting ready for the Raw Comedy Competition at the moment. It's a comedy competition before the festival here in Melbourne, and the comedy festival. And you go up and you do 5 minutes, and there'll be like maybe 30 other people doing their 5-minute spots, and then you move through to heats, and there's a whole competition. It's on TV and stuff. I think the winner gets flown to Edinburgh, and then sort of potentially fades into obscurity, never again seen or held in any esteem in the comedy industry. But what a cool accolade. I'm just gonna sip my water here, don't mind me. Theater of the mind. Jesus. And so I'm a bit nervous for this Raw Comedy Competition. Last year I had to follow a little man, which is, no beef on the little guy, Jesus. But I was just unexpected, you know what I mean? Like, I had enough on my plate before doing it. It's my first ever show was the Raw Comedy heat, and that was just something I just didn't need to deal with at the time. And I thought, I don't know, yeah, no, let's not get into that, shall we? So 5 minutes to wow the crowd. And, the biggest sort of sticking point I'm dealing with at the moment is when you get to the point in a set, could be a 5-minute set, could be a 10-minute set, whatever. But it tends to always be a point in my set where I'll be doing my material, and then I'll be all of a sudden looking out at a sea of very unimpressed faces. Very confused, concerned, sort of faces that lack confidence in what they're looking at. And it's hard to come back from that once it's there. It's overwhelming. They're just staring at you. They're just waiting for you to, get out of their life. And I see their faces in my dreams now. And my therapist tells me that that's all just part of the process. You got to get up there and you got to deal with their eyes. In many ways, their unimpressed faces is my unimpressed face. But it's all about choosing material. You want to find material that you're confident with. Right now, I got 5 minutes. Well, I got a bit about thrush. I got a bit about shampoo in the shower. I got a bit about having sex with a possum. Just trying to cover all the bases and trying to find my voice, essentially. But it's an interesting challenge. I'm looking forward to it. I really should have thought more about this bit before I started doing it, but that's fine. What do we got? We got sponsors. We're getting into the sponsors already. I don't know how people do 40-minute podcasts. I'm fucking 10 minutes in. All right, so we got sponsors. Maybe we'll do a sponsor, and then we'll get into the. We'll do that. We'll do a sponsor now, just one. Okay. The Touperet. Okay, the Baldies of the world unite. Is your big bald head always getting burnt in the summer, and then frosty in winter? Well, finally, the answer to your prayers is here. The headwear engineers at Bold and Beautiful bring you the Touperet. What is it? It's what you've wanted all along. It's a beret and a toupee in one. How does it work? Good question. Well, on one side of the material is a toupee, and then on the other is a beret. Genius. So in the winter months, you can fold the toupee over and zip it up into a beret. And then in winter, you can unzip it and unfold the material, and voila, you've got yourself a dapper, sophisticated head of hair. Now your toupee, or should I say your toupee, your toupee is made out of 50% genuine fabric and 50% genuine hair from other people. So get your toupee today by going to shinyheadsrule.org and use the promo code Willy'sWorld to get 20% off your brand new to Beret. Now they're selling out quickly. In fact, there's hardly enough other people's genuine hair to keep up with our demand. So go to www.shinyheadsrule.org and use the promo code Willy's World to get 20% off your first order. Don't waste another second. Get yours today. And for the love of God, cover up that bald head of yours. Wow. There you go. shinyheadsrule.org. Okay. Now we're bouncing around a bit. What do we got here? Yeah, we're gonna get into the part of the workshop segment of the podcast, which I am frankly very looking forward to. This is where, so I have 3 piles of comedy material. I have ideas, random stuff, that's one pile. Then you've got approved bits, and then I've got workshop bits. So the workshop bit is stuff that I perform, approved bits is stuff that I'm still tweaking. The idea bit is raw, off the cuff, just pure absurdity. And really, if someone broke into my house and they found this, they would probably run for their life and report me to the authorities, like I'm not being surveilled already. All right, let's get into it. So I'm picking them randomly. Am I? No, I'm not. No, I'm partly picking it randomly. Okay, what do we got off the top? Oh, this is good. All right, so I've been moved house recently, and so I thought, oh yeah, this is such a fucking awful. Oh god, sorry about that. This is such an awful process. I need some comedic relief, from myself. So I came up with some bits, and let's see what we got here. So moving house. Okay. Oh no. Sometimes you just look at a bit and you just know it's just going to be shit. It's never going to work. But it's a workshop, there are no bad bits in workshop. So this one's all about how, when you're moving house, you get rid of all like the big stuff, like the couches and the beds and stuff. And you think that that's 90% of your stuff in your house. But really, that's only like 20%. 90% of the stuff in your house is like little things, like shot glasses and like 5-cent coins and stuff. And that was actually the awful punchline for this joke was, man, it's all fucking shot glasses and 5-cent coins, Oh yeah, I had more stuff about how you learn things about yourself when you're moving house. So you I found you also learn things about other people in your house when you're rummaging through their stuff. So in one box, I found Playboy magazines, like a bunch of 6 from the 90s. And in that same box, I found like a stack of New Yorker magazines from the same era. So you got Playboys, and you've got and New Yorkers. So you got like this weird combination of sophistication and culture and titties, pretty much in one box. And what better way to discover your parents' porno collection than when you're moving house and you're all in the same room together? Pretty awful. Oh, okay. Yeah. And so, when we moved into the new house, there was like you move in, it's all just boxes. You've got couches and stuff. Then you've got the bags and the boxes of all the things you've packed to move over. And at any point during that process, I remember sitting there in the house and just looking at all the boxes and just feeling fucking stressed and tired and just thinking, God, what I wouldn't do to have just a can of petrol and a pack of matches right now and just fucking torch this whole fucking place. Do you know what I mean? Just fucking set it ablaze and just burn it to the fucking ground. That's how I felt, really. I just wanted to see it all burn. And so what else can we work with on there? So moving house. Oh, what else was there? So there was fucking stuff about you'd put something on your lawn because we couldn't get rid of enough stuff because we were downsizing. Put some stuff on your lawn, like we had an outdoor setting, we had some gardening tools and stuff that we weren't going to need moving to the next place. And both times that we put stuff on the lawn, within, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, maybe even less, people driving around in their cars would just pull over, they rummage through it, and, we were out on the lawn once and someone was like, oh, what's this? Are you getting rid of your dining table? That's their way of saying, I'm going to fucking come back after dark and steal all this shit. and put it in my house. You know what I mean? People are weird, and I just been thinking like it's almost like if you drop something outside, like you drop a piece of food or something, and like within a certain like a quick frame of time, there's already bugs just sort of sweeping onto it and living off it essentially. And that's where like these people like vultures, but it wasn't even the fact that they were doing it, because it's actually a good thing. We knew that if you put stuff on the lawn, people were gonna come and take it off your hands, and like it was helpful to us because we didn't have to fucking want to deal with it. But it was just the speed with which people were sort of just cruising around. It's like, I mean, have you ever seen that? Like you're just driving and you see on the side of the road, maybe people have got like wood and stuff that they've chopped and put out, and people like, it's never someone with like a Lexus or a Range Rover. It's always some fucking povo, like gross Volvo from the 20s, and someone is like, yeah, I'm going to use this one chair, really complement my outdoor setting that's got 6 other chairs and half a table from other people's fucking hard rubbish. And it's like, these people who hoarders, you see, it shows people like, their front yards and their backyards are full of random shit. That's what I imagine these people, but they're essentially vultures and, scummy, but necessary parts of the human ecosystem. So I shouldn't really be shitting on them. I should be congratulating them for being scummy and vultures. So congratulations. I said it here, you know what I mean? And good on you. What else have we got? Here we go. So I was watching Jingle By the Way, Christmas staple, and it's just hilarious watching. Like, it's just such a normal Christmas movie. It doesn't need, and is in no way enhanced by having a huge, muscly, like Austrian dude as like one of the lead characters. It's him and Sinbad, which is fucking hilarious. Because the only other thing I've seen Sinbad in is his like tiny cameo appearance in episode of Always Sunny. But there he is, Sinbad, playing like this like in this heartwarming Christmas film with fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's like, they could have cast anyone else in that role and it still would have been a huge hit, I'm sure of it. They could have had Alec Baldwin in it. They could have had fucking, I don't know, Chevy Chase, or, whatever. And, but no, Arnold Schwarzenegger, this huge Austrian dude, like, it's hilarious. And it got to me thinking, because occasionally you see an Australian in a film playing an Australian, so they have their accent, and it sticks out like anything. It sticks out like dog's balls, and amongst other American accents, which actually I feel like I'm more accustomed to seeing Americans on TV than I am seeing Australians, and I got to be thinking, like, I just can't imagine so many like quintessential movie quotes, like famous movie quotes, like in an Australian accent. So I was coming up with a bit for this, and really sitting down and doing comedy bits is an exercise, and it's really a useless exercise for humanity. I just feel like here I am making a list on my couch on like a Tuesday night, Christmas holidays, making a list of movie quotes that I think would sound funny in an Australian accent. And sometimes you sit back and think, what am I doing with my time, But then there are other people cruising around putting logs and fucking furniture in their car. So, really, who's fucking the strange one? So, okay, stay on track. So I guess the bit I had here was, I always do it in dot points. So I go like, wanted to be an Australian actor. Like, this is the bit that I would sort of be running with. And you got to create a bit of context. It's like, I really wanted to be an actor, but then I saw an Aussie accent in an American film, and I thought that does not sound right. I just can't imagine classic movie lines being said in an Australian accent. So I've got like, Luke, I'm your father. I couldn't imagine like, Luke, I'm your father. All right? Not that guy. Me. I'm your father. Get in the fucking car and shut up. You know what I mean? What else we got? I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. Mate, I'm gonna make him an offer so good, he will not be able to say no. Okay? I'm gonna make him an offer that he cannot refuse. Can't imagine that. Here we go. You can't handle the truth. Mate, you can't handle the truth. You can't handle You can't handle the truth. It's truth. Truth? You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Okay? And you got Goodfellas, you know? What am I, a fucking clown? Am I fucking here to amuse you? What the fuck is so funny about me? Oh, I'm like a clown? I'm here to amuse you? What the fuck is so funny about me? Okay? I'm Australian. Then the bit would go, you know, but then I was sitting watching TV and I thought, I was watching Jingle All the Way came on, and I thought, the leading star is an oversized Austrian. Surely, you know, if he can do it, I can do it, you know. He's Austrian. Nothing, I'm not trying to shit on Austrian people. You know, they're fine, history considered. And, you know, I feel like, if he can do it, I can do it. That said, how many, you know, Austrians are there in popular American culture? Not many, if any. Well, one. Okay, what else we got? I'm just going through bits now. I feel like this is going to be the most interesting part of the podcast. I've quickly realised no one wants to hear my shitty fucking preparation for raw comedy. Fucking raw comedy. This is raw comedy, okay? Off the cuff, fresh off the press, hot cakes. What have we got? Oh yeah. So this bit here is about like sounds. It's about how you hear something, and this sounds dumb as fuck, but it's like you hear something and you kind of know what that sound is. I don't mean in a sense like something obvious, where like well, here's a bit. So it started when I was at the old house, and I was looking out my window, and from my window it was sort of elevated, so I could sort of see into my next door neighbour's backyard, which is always fun. You know, I always hope that I'm going to have a Ned Flanders moment or whatever, and sort of look out and see my neighbour burying his wife. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, sincerely, but I kind of do. And the bit for this was, I looked over one afternoon and I saw my neighbour, just like, he's like old dude, maybe like 60, late 60s, early 70s, and he's always out in his gardening, and he was just taking a piss in his backyard. But I didn't see him before I heard him, so I always had my windows open, and I was probably sitting on my bed just reading, and I heard that's the sound of piss like hitting the ground, and there's no mistaking that sound. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could easily sort of have sounded like someone using like a garden hose or like a tap dripping or something, but there's that kind of distinct sound, you know, that can, you know, pierce a quiet street of someone pissing. And then I looked up and that was him pissing. Do you know what I mean? So that was one example I was thinking of using for the bit. What was it? Did I have another bit for that? No. Oh, that's right. And there was another thing about, like, say you're like you're living in a flat with a couple of guys or whatever, and one guy goes to bed and you're sort of maybe the living room. Like, I would make it as a story, so I would say like, you know, at my flat I share with two guys, and occasionally we watch TV together at night before I go to bed, and one guy goes to bed and his bedroom is off the living room, and you know, he goes to bed, blah blah blah, and then 5 minutes later I hear the distinct sound of like tissues, you know, coming out of a tissue box. And if it's a quiet house, like everyone knows what that sound is, of that shh. Oh, do I have any tissues in here? Not really. What do I have? Oh yeah, that's sort of sound, and you're like, I didn't hear any sneezing, and yet I heard the tissues. Dark room, bed. It's like, obviously, you know, the implication there is that he's cleaning up his jizz, and you know, that's the implication of the joke. So it's finding a way to phrase that and sort of imply it without necessarily saying it, because you don't always just want to come out and say fucking drop a jizz bomb, you know, in your set, because, you know, sometimes it's funnier if you don't. I think I don't fucking actually know, but it's probably clear to you now. But what else we got? So sounds, yeah, that was good. Some of this stuff is just awful. Like, I got a bit here about middle class, and it's pretty bad. Really, I mean, most of the stuff is bad, but to be fair, that's why it's in the idea pile, right? Give me a break. This is the ideas pile, this is the approved pile, and there's the workshop pile. You're getting the ideas pile, right? The approved and the workshop is specifically for live audiences. Well, I mean, this is live, but this is just what I arbitrarily chose to use for the podcast. Anyway, fuck, middle class. So. I'm really regretting choosing this bit. Anyway, so I'm middle class. Oh, no, this is awful. Stick with it. Smack bang in the middle. You got upper class and lower class, but no one ever refers to upper class or lower class. They might just say rich and poor, but middle class. They never say rich, poor, and then average. No one ever calls he's average. He's average class. He's just middle class. You know what I mean? It doesn't have a poor and rich. They kind of have almost bad connotations. They're rich and they're smug and they're the powerful ones and they're exploiting people. And the poor people are poor and oppressed, and I don't know, maybe there's an implication that they're dumb or that they're wrong. It's a wrong implication. Well, I don't know. I'm not a fucking. What am I fucking Karl Marx over here? Okay, what am I, Karl Marx on the airwaves, just stirring up class warfare? No, all right. I'm a comedian doing bits now. See, this is what's dangerous about the ideas pile, because they're raw and it's uncensored. Okay, and they're not good. It's just an unconnected thought, and it's when you get things like this. Middle class, 5 out of 10. That's what they're really saying. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I got a bit about white privilege. I'm not even going to touch that. That's awful. Is that the possum bit? No, awful. Oh, I have jokes somewhere. I do have some jokes. Oh, these are awful. Here we go. Let's do some jokes. I've started writing jokes as well. Okay. Oh, where's my Christmas one? Here we go, because it's, topical. Mariah Carey famously sung the song "All I Want for Christmas Is You." But what most people don't know is that by you, she meant all of James Packer's money. And for Christmas, she meant as a result of a long, bitter divorce. There you go. New Year's resolutions. You guys make some resolutions? I know I did. Anyway, a regional reporter has documented New Year's resolutions in the area of Kyneton. One farmer shared his resolutions, which were to eat less red meat, walk 10,000 steps a day, and have less sex with the animals on his farm. Fascinating stuff. Oh yeah, and here's the last one. Topical. As you can see, I'm very well read. That's why I get the material for these stupid jokes. Alright, so social psychologists have recently likened Twitter as being the modern equivalent of journaling. The main difference being that when people used to journal, they actually knew that nobody gave a fuck what they had to say. That's why they kept it in a journal. There you go. Jokes. Gonna try and keep those happening every week based on what is happening in the world. Okay, I think we should probably move. We're getting towards the end of the podcast. It's been I'm going to try and keep it a 30-minute podcast. That's good enough. No one wants to, especially in the preliminary stages, no one wants to fucking spend half an hour listening to my crazy shit coming at you from my little conspiracy bunker here in Melbourne. And, okay, yeah, let's finish off with a sponsor, just as a final message. So we did the two parade. What do we got now? Okay, we got the handy plants. Are your hands small and gross? Do you struggle to pick up basic household objects like vintage dictionaries, stuffed meerkats, and active ceiling fans? Well, if this sounds like you, then look no further than the latest procedure from the elite surgeons at So Plastic It Hurts. Right now, they're offering a New Year's discount on their hands plant transplants that will leave your hands thicker, stubbier, and sexier than ever before. It's the new year. You want to make it your best year ever, but it feels almost impossible with hands the size of lemons. How are you going to grab the bull by the horns with hands like that? You can't. But thankfully, you can solve this problem and forever solve this problem forever and at a discount price if you get on the early bird list. Use the promo code Willy's World to get up to 10% off your hands plant transplant procedure. And the surgeons at So Plastic It Hurts are running a special offer just for Willy's World listeners. The first 100 people to use my promo code will also get a free butt implant voucher as part of So Plastic It Hurts Asses to the Masses promotion. So don't waste another second. Get your tiny little hands on this offer now by calling the professional surgeons at So Plastic It Hurts. Okay, well that's a wrap on the pilot episode of the first ever Willy's podcast. I don't think it's been too much of a train wreck, you know. Not a 10-car pile up, maybe a 2-car pile up with an injured pedestrian and some damage done to community property, but nothing that can't be repaired, and nothing short of a budget that the taxpayers dollars. Oh Jesus, and I think it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to bringing you more material every week. I think the workshop's going to be the biggest part of it, but we'll see. We'll try and mix it up. There'll be new sponsors, of course. You know, got to keep this show afloat. The good people at So Plastic It Hurts and what the fuck, shinyheadsrule.com or whatever. No, bold and beautiful. Oh, who cares? And anyway, I'm looking forward to doing another one. See you. This was the pilot. Don't forget, episode 1 is next week. Sweet. Okay? Have the website up and all that other shit in good time. Anyway, stay clean and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.